Yo, what's going on, everybody? Welcome to episode 15 of the Between the Lines podcast with me, Daniel, and my partner, Michael Fallon. We're back again after an exciting week of NFL football. We're getting closer to the playoffs starting. A lot of teams filling in their spots for, the yearly tournament to see who goes to the Super Bowl. And the Carolina Panthers are crawling, inching their way into being in the playoffs for the first time since 2017 during the Cam Newton era. So there's a lot to dissect from yesterday. This is a very important game, very important win for this team moving forward. Michael, I just want to start off with you. What were your quick, thoughts and opinions on, we'll dissect more later into the episode, but just like quickly from your point of view, how was the atmosphere, and what did you think of the intensity of the game?
Yeah, appreciate being back. Just bear with me, everybody. My voice is a little uh shaky. I was screaming and yelling yesterday at the game. Got electric. Um, but yeah, quick thoughts was it was electric, man. I don't know if I've ever seen the bank like that. Um, they had towels for everybody in every cup holder, so everybody was waving the towels. It was electric. I don't know if many people sat down all game. It was a close game all game, so it was electric. It kept people on the edge of their seats, especially down low. I know it did up top as well. Um, you could look around and everybody was waving those towels. Everybody was on their feet, banging the seats, yelling, screaming. The Panther fans showed out yesterday. Got to give it to them. I didn't see a lot of Bucs fans. Obviously, there was some mixed in, but the Panther fans showed up and they showed out to Carolina yesterday, and it showed. And it helps. It does. It truly does help. We forced a few false starts, forced to delay a game, forced the Bucks to take a few timeouts. So, the crowd noise definitely does help. It changes, the trajectory of the game. Those teams have to go to silent count, and silent count messes up sometimes. You have to have all five offensive linemen, wide receivers, tight ends on the same page, and everything's silent. It's not like you're at home, so you're having to do everything silently, and it affects you, especially when the crowd's loud. Um, and we know Panther fans can get rowdy. Obviously, we've seen it 10 years ago. I mean, you just go back and watch the Cardinals NFC Championship game, and you just listen to the broadcast. There's sometimes you can hear the fans over the announcers. Sometimes it was so loud and so electric in that place. So Panther fans get down. Tradition, the football love in Charlotte is huge, and they show out every now and then. Obviously you look back. I've been a season ticket holder for 3 years. There's been a few games where there was nobody in the stands, and we got out of there and got out of traffic quickly. But you know, as much as I hate sitting in traffic, I love being able to sit in traffic after a win, especially when all the fans showed up. So, yeah, it was electric. I love the towels. Hope they're there this Sunday against the Seattle Seahawks. Obviously, it's not a playoff clinching game. We need some help, but it'll be awesome to see that going against a big team like Seattle. So, yeah, I loved it. I think it was electric from the top levels all the way to the bottom. All the Panther fans showed out and they held it down, and uh, it really helped. That's for sure.
Yeah, I mean the atmosphere was insane. I know you were sitting in the 100 level, uh, and I was holding it down up top, but my section was, I don't think not one person was sitting down the entire game. It was crazy, and I had to stand up too because just to be with them and have that make that loud presence. And whenever there were false starts and whatnot, like it was like we just won the Super Bowl. It's so loud.
Yeah,
But and then I really love the towels. When every time we had like a big play or whatever, towels were waving. I looked to my right side and there was just a sea of towels just waving. I was like, this is playoff football right here. This is what you dream of seeing seeing as a football fan and Panther fan in general, and just seeing that atmosphere and whatnot. And I told you, and a lot of the people coming in that this was a playoff game, because we needed this win after a bad loss against the Saints last week. So we really needed this, and to get this type of win, it just it shows testament to that these players can, if they dig deep enough, they can find out who they really are, as players, as coaches, and as a team, as a whole. And I think that really showed. You gotta give major props to the defense. Ijo Evero, he really helped this team get organized down in the late stretches of the game. You know, I think I texted you this on the last drive for Tampa Bay. They were kind of marching downfield a little bit, and I was like, oh gosh, it's going to be exactly what happened against New Orleans last week. Well, how about Lathan Ransom getting an interception, seal the deal? When he got the interception, I mean, the crowd just went, "Ugh," it just went up there. Um, and so
Yeah.
that was very good to see after he had a rough and a late hit last week against New Orleans, kind of redeemed himself. You said yourself a redemption, so that was very nice to see there. Um, I'm just really proud of this team. Obviously, there's still stuff that we have to get right about that and a lot of other people in the media may not be seeing. Um, so we need to clean up on those. We have a huge game, but um, what did you see from the collective team as a whole? Anybody you want to point out individually that you thought had a good game? What are your thoughts about this one?
Yeah. Like you said, this is probably one of the biggest wins we've had in the last 5 years. It was a franchise statement win. I think a lot of people coming into this year thought the Panthers were maybe a year away, maybe a year or two away from making the playoffs, getting back to where they needed to be. Obviously, you saw signs of life at the end of last year. It seemed like the wave was changing. Obviously, Tedero McMillan was a big get in the draft. Um, and he's proved it. I think, no doubt, he proved himself yesterday as the rookie of the year. If we're comparing him to Emeka Ibuka, Tedero McMillan is the rookie of the year, except for that one big play they had as a whole for the Buccaneers. They only had one big play as a whole, and it was that shot down the field to Emeka Ibuka, kind of a busted coverage on the back end. Nick Scott got over late. I think, just some miscommunication on the back end. It happens. Obviously, we got to stop on that drive. So, hey, shout out the defense. They tightened up. They came through when need be. But he only had one reception for 40 yards. Tedder McMillan, six receptions for 73 yards, and obviously that touchdown on Jamel Dean just beat him 1-on-1. That's what you want out of your 6'3", 6'4" wide receiver. You want to be able to trust him to take one-on-one shots down the field. Hey, if I see you one-on-one, I'm gonna give you a ball. Just go get it. And hey, he has good speed for a 6'4" guy. He's very lanky. Um, he has great arms. He's able to catch anything on the field, I think. Obviously, he had a big play coming down towards my end, one on one again, and just kind of outboxed the guy out. He boxed the guy out, big catch down the sidelines for about 20 yards. So that's what you want out of a rookie wide receiver. If that's your rookie wide receiver, at 6'4" that can do that, and you can trust him in those situations is big. Another guy I'd love to shout out, Jalen Coker. I've loved Jalen Coker. Obviously, he was hurt to start the year, but ever since he came in, he's produced. He has multiple touchdowns on the year. He has, I think, already over 300 yards receiving, and he's missed a lot of games. He had three receptions for 47 yards yesterday. We didn't run the ball much yesterday. Only 15 carries between Rico Dowdle and Chuba Hubbard. Shout out Rico Dowdle. He did surpass 1,000 yards rushing on the year yesterday. I think he sits at 1,007 now with 2 games to go in the regular season. So back-to-back years, 1,000 yards rushing for him. Obviously, I think when it goes to the offseason this year, hopefully after the playoffs, well after the playoffs, we start our offseason. Um, I think Rico Dowdle has to be your number one guy you have to bring back, even if it's just a franchise tag and try to get another deal done at the end of the next year. I think Rico Dowdle has to be your number one target guy inside the facility to keep. to keep around. I think obviously Bryce Young is going to get his 5th-year deal. The team option is going to be locked in. 21 for 32 yesterday for him, 191 yards and 2 touchdowns. I think he had a great game. He could have had more yards if a certain someone didn't drop the ball over across the middle. And that guy's name is Xavier Legette. But hey, Bryce Young's taking care of the football. That's what you love to see. Um, he hasn't thrown the ball away or made stupid mistakes past few weeks, and he's winning football games. So you can always be happy about that. Um, you know, last week I think it was a collective on play calling, so it wasn't really him. But this week he's made plays, deep in the red zone, shook out of a few tackles, would be sacks, runs around, finds space, and finds JT Sanders just sitting by himself in the back of the end zone. So, that's what you want out of your quarterback. Like I text you, that's what people were saying was Bama Bryce. We finally saw Bama Bryce make play. And I'm so proud of him. I'm so proud of Tedero McMillan. I'm so proud of Jalen Coker. The running back room, hasn't had the great past few weeks. I'd love to see that kind of get back up and going. If we could put both the run game and the pass game together, I think it's going to open this offense up even more. Um, I did hear the day that they might open Robert Hunt's practice window. So getting back a Pro Bowl interior guard like Robert Hunt is going to be huge for us to already put right beside obviously Damian Lewis, who finished top 10 in guard voting in the Pro Bowl. So, if you can have those two as your interior line, Cade Mays at center, and then, hey, shout out Josh Nimon yesterday, filling in for Ike Ekwonu. He stepped up big in a big time game, and I couldn't be more proud of him. Obviously, when you lose a tackle who's gotten very, very more improved as he's been with the Carolina Panthers and Ike Ekwonu. It's scary, especially when he's your left tackle. That's your blind side guy. But hey, Yosh stepped in and he balled out. I got to give it to him. I didn't see anything that made me like, you know, oh, this offensive lineman played a bad game. I think all five across the board played a very good game. They protected well. They cleaned the pocket out for Bryce Young, and that's why he was able to complete 21 of 32 as a passes for almost 200 yards. It should have been more completions, obviously, like I said. Xavier Legette. Um, obviously, everybody that watches the podcast faithfully knows our opinions on Xavier Legette. That guy needs to be off my football team. I never want to see him ever again. He can keep his raccoon meat and country talking in Mullins, South Carolina, because I don't want it on the Carolina Panthers anymore. Um, he's going to have to do a lot for him to get back in my good graces as a fan. And I think that's a lot of way for everybody. I think it's the same way for you. He's going to have to do a lot to get back in our good graces. It's not just catching a football 2 times in a row and we're like, oh, he's great again. No, this has been constant for the past 2 years. Um, and I'm not going to blame it on the wide receiver coach because he's took an undrafted free agent and Jalen Coker and made him into a dang good football player. He's took Tedero McMillan, who was the only wide receiver, I think, in the first round this year. I could be mistaken, but he was the only wide receiver taken in the first round, and he is undoubtedly, I think, the unanimous rookie of the year. I think he's made his mark as a rookie of the year. So it's not on a wide receiver coach. The wide receivers in that group are not bad. Jimmy Horn looks good. Obviously, we used him a little more yesterday. So it's not the wide receiver coach. It's not his fault. It's just Xavier Legette, I think, thinks that just because he was a first round pick, he's entitled to something. He's entitled because he's a hometown kid. He's a South Carolina kid. It ain't how it works, man. You got to earn it. Your cool voice and your cool gadgets with your raccoon meat and stuff, and you going to the Kentucky Derby and whatnot. That's not going to keep you on an NFL team. It wouldn't if I was a GM. I'd send you packing. I don't care. I'm trying to have the best of the best on this team here. This is a team that I think can be very good. We're very young, very young. Like you look across the board, this team is young. Everybody in skill positions, I think, is under 5 years in the league. Chuba Hubbard, Bryce Young, Tedero McMillan, Jalen Coker, Jimmy Horn, Mitchell Evans, Tommy Trimble, JT Sanders. All those guys are under 30 years old. This is a young team, a very young team of young core that I think on the other side as well. JC Horn's under 30 years old. I don't know how Christian Roseboom is. Trevor Wallace is only a second-year player. Trevon Moehrig. You got Derek Brown, who's young still. Um, DJ Wanham. Your two defensive ends are rookies. Princely and Nick Scorton. So we have a young team on both sides of the ball. It's not a very old team. Like it's a team that you can build around. It's a team that you can build onto. And like I said, I thought we were 1 or 2 years away. I didn't think this was our year. I'm not going to act like I thought this was our year. We talked before the season. Um, I'm not going to say I went out here saying, "Oh, we're going to win 11 games. We're going to the playoffs, and we're beating, all these good teams." No, I thought we had a gauntlet of a schedule. You had the Rams in there. You had the Seahawks in there. You had the Packers in there. You have good teams. You had Tampa Bay Buccaneers twice. Obviously, the Falcons coming into the year we thought was going to be a better team. That's what most people said. But we had a gauntlet of a schedule. It wasn't an easy schedule, but we we beat some teams we obviously didn't think we'd beat. We've made some noise in big games, but hey, we made some mistakes too. The offense has to improve a little bit. Like I said, it's got to be consistent. We'll see how we do this week against Seattle, a very good team. Obviously, we'll talk about that in a little bit in our Seahawks Panthers preview, but it's a dang good team on both sides of the ball. If you watched the game at all Thursday night, you knew that's a good team on both sides. They're young as well. They fly around on both sides. Very good talent on both sides. So we're gonna have to come with our A game. But hey, we've done it before. We beat the Rams at home. We went into Green Bay and beat Green Bay. So, it's familiar territory for us. Uh, we're like one game away from um, we're one game away from beating an NFL record as for most wins in a season as betting underdogs. So, we've been underdogs all year. This ain't nothing new for us. This ain't new territory. We just got to go in and we're Dolphins fans this week, big Dolphin fans. Obviously, I don't know how much we could trust them with Quinn Ewers, but hey, we've seen crazier things in the NFL happen. Go Miami, go Carolina. We can potentially clinch a playoff berth this week. I don't think it's very likely. I think it's good. It's an uphill battle, but hey, don't matter. No matter who wins, who loses this week. Um, if we lose and they win, it don't matter because if we beat them in week 18, we're still NFC South champions. So we just got to take care. We just got to take it one week at a time. All focus on Seattle. Take care of business there. Don't worry about the outside stuff. Don't worry about if the Miami wins. You win. A statement win like that can be awesome for your momentum going into the playoffs. If you can knock off three wins at the end of the year, going into the playoffs, that's big, especially when you're going to host the playoff game, probably against a team you've already played against, like Seattle, um, like LA, like San Francisco. You're going to play a team you've already played. You want to be able to have that momentum and that stuff behind you to push you through the playoffs. So, yeah, I'd love to hear your thoughts on it, but very impressive win for us, one of the biggest in the past few years.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. I think we have to, really take care of business, um, and no matter, what the outcome is with Miami when they play Tampa, we gotta take care of our stuff that we do. We can't rely on other teams to help us out. We can only control what we can control. I think, yeah, last week or yesterday was a great starting point. So if we can just take care of what we need to do, we'll be in a good position. Because I mean, we don't want to be in a position where we gotta rely on, a loss team to beat a divisional rival. So I think if we can just focus on the main thing, then we'll be okay. But we just gotta, go in with that mindset, like this is what's on the line. This is what we're fighting for, and we're only, I mean, like you said, we can clinch a playoff for this week. We can. But it's gonna take some, stuff to make it happen. But I believe we can beat Seattle. I believe we can do it. Like you said, we beat the Rams at home when no one else had us beating them. We beat Green Bay at Green Bay when no one else thought we could. Um, and I think it's going to be a very exciting game. We're only a 7 point underdog in this game. But I think that's how I like it. That's how I want it. Um, let the media, let them, go into this week thinking they're experts. Um, and so if Carolina beats Seattle, then it's gonna come right back, and we're gonna be like, this is nothing new. We been knew that this team is capable of beating teams like Seattle, teams like LA, and all that kind of stuff. But in terms of yesterday's game, I thought the defense was tremendous. Um, Mayfield to, being Baker Mayfield of previous years past before he joined the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Nick Sporton had a very good game. He was all over the backfield. He is probably one of our better defensive draft picks that we've had since like Derek Brown, J.C. Horn, all of them guys. I think he's going to be a stud for us on that defensive line. He has all the physical traits in the world to become great. And yesterday he did it against a very talented Tampa Bay Buccaneers offensive line. So um, I was very, impressed and proud to see the play that Nick Sporton did yesterday. And then obviously, I think Christian Rosenboom, he had a pretty good game. He was flying all over the field as well. Um, and then you also have to give credit to Mike Jackson. I mean, normally when the DBs get mossed like that and for a touchdown, um, they tend to have a pretty bad game after, but not Mike Jackson. He played, like a dog. Going forward after that, there was multiple instances where he was undercutting routes. He was fingertips away from getting interception. He played well. Um, and so, you got to give credit to the ball man. So, and then, you know, JC Horn was doing JC Horn things, fogging his shot up. So I was very much more impressed by the defense than I was on the offense. Obviously, I was proud of the offense too, but just showing a little bit more love for the defense. Um, and I don't know what their defensive ranking is at the moment, but I'm sure they're below around the top 15 range in terms of ranking, stuff like that. Um, just a much better defense compared to last year. So that's all we really could have, asked for in terms of that. I give credit to Asia Evero for, handling um, players there in that department and whatnot. You know, switching over to Xavier Leggett, I mean, people were coming crazy at me, on the TikTok when, I made that video last week. They were talking about like, oh, you just gotta give him some time, um, all this stuff. I'm like, he's a wide receiver two, first round pick, almost two full regular seasons now of being one of our main priorities. He's had two games this year of 0, 0, and 0 stat lines. He's putting up Tony Snell numbers in the NFL. Like, folks ain't gonna keep being patient with you. Big dog, you supposed to be our number one. As you playing like a bum.
Shout out Cam Newton. Shout out Cam Newton. Shout out Cam Newton.
Yeah,
Shout out
like,
Big Cam. Shout out Big Cam.
yeah,
I'm
I
telling you,
love
bro. Hey,
raccoons. I love
yeah, I got
raccoons.
a cool voice. Like nobody cares
Like,
about that, bro. Like Buffalo with the Keon Coleman and the cookies, bro. Like you keep all that raccoon stuff, you keep all the cool voice out there. The NFL sending you to the Kentucky Derby and stuff. Like that's cool, bro. That's cool. You stay on that side though, man. We trying to play football here, but we ain't trying to do all the fashion shows and I got a good country voice, man. Like I ain't even worried about that, bro. Like folks is not gonna keep being patient with you, bro. Like I'm not here for a good field time hometown story. Like I don't care about that. I don't care if you're from South Carolina, North Carolina, Virginia, Tennessee, Maine, Florida, California. I don't care where you're from. I want dogs on this team. I don't care where you're from. Bryce Young, that boy from Southern California. Tedero McMillan, California. I don't care about this South Carolina, North Carolina crap, bro. I don't care. I want dogs on my team, man. Like Dan Morgan said, we want dogs. We don't care where they from. We want dogs. You not a dog, bro. You not. You a puppy, bro. You a little puppy, and you can stay on the porch. The big dogs are in the yard playing. You can stay on the porch and whine. Hey, when mom and dad's on the porch watching the big dogs in the yard, you can just stand there with mommy on her hip and you rub on her, let her rub you a little bit. That's cool, bro. You stay on that side. We cool over here, bro. We don't need you. We don't need you. Jimmy Horn Jr. here. Hey, XL. Jalen Coker's here. We're good, bro.
we're
We're
we're good,
good.
bro. Yeah, I can't, bro. Hey, so we're good. We're good over here,
Hey,
bro.
XL. Jalen Coker's here. Good.
Yeah, like, bro, Jalen Coker snatched your chain, bro. Undrafted free agent.
Free agents, that's your chain, bro. You're a first
Like,
round pick, bro. You let undrafted free agent from Holy Cross University snatch your chain. Bro couldn't even tell me where Holy Cross University was. I don't even know Jalen Coker knows where Holy Cross University is, bro. Like, bro, you got your chain snatched, fam. Like, give it up. Give it up, bro. Give it up. Give it
man,
up, bro.
Jimmy Horn is one capable play caller away from snatching your chain as well, bro.
Bro, in
Like,
fact,
let's be
I
real.
don't know how I don't know how Dave Canales didn't see that play yesterday. Bro had 25 yards off the rip. Off the rip. Like, bro, that's your gadget guy. That's your guy you can give the ball in space to, and he making a few moves and he gone. He's speedy, man. I'm telling you, like, you see that field level, like you think he's fast already. Like when I saw him take that reverse and he gidget and gadgeting in there, bro. Like that dude is shifty and fast. Like he moves well. Like 25 yards off the rip and didn't touch the ball again. That's the thing I'm talking about with Dave Canales. You can't just do this, man. You can't just give the guy. If he give you 25 yards one play, you got to give the ball to him more. Every time he touches the ball, it's over 20 yards. Like the wheel route right out of second half. Who was that against? Who would play that game? Who was it?
I was muted. That was Dallas.
Dallas, yeah. Right out of halftime, Will Route goes like 30, 35 yards. Didn't touch the ball the rest of the game. Like, we got to stop using this guy as just a motion guy. Like, if you see, we got to stop giving grace to Xavier Leggett. Like, he's a first round pick who don't want it. He just don't want it. Jalen Coker, undrafted free agent. He works every day to prove himself. Jimmy Horn Jr., every time he touches the ball, he's trying to make a big play out of it. He's trying to earn his keep in the NFL. Like, you got to reward the guys who want it, the guys who are giving you production. Xavier Leggett's not giving you that. Jimmy Horn Jr., he's trying to give you that. Jalen Coker is giving you that. Like, we give grace to those guys. Those guys who work their tails off, go 110 miles per hour every play. Like if they make a mistake at 110 miles per hour, cool. He's able to get going across the middle, wide open, and he's like in his hands. Oh nah, man, I don't want to take a hit, bro. You better take a hit, man. You better catch the ball and take a hit. You 6'3" coming across the middle. You better take a hit. Like, bro, this ain't no, nah, we ain't doing this, none of this baby stuff anymore. We ain't babying you anymore. I know I said this Between the Lines podcast. We ain't babying Xavier Leggett. We're not making excuses for Xavier Leggett. There are people on Twitter yesterday. I literally saw it. Panther fans on Twitter. They're like, I think it might be time for me to be done with Xavier Leggett after that. Now you don't like Xavier Leggett. Bro, we was done last year, fam. Bro, we was done last year. Bro, we been done. No, we been done, bro. Over here, we been done. We been done since Philadelphia last year. Like, don't even no. We been done, bro. You just now getting done with him, and we 2 weeks away from the end of his second year in the NFL. Nah, see, y'all giving too much grace. Y'all not used to winning, so y'all just giving grace to anybody now. Nah, I ain't giving grace to nobody. Nah,
Panther
especially not Xavier Leggett.
Panther fans on online are like they give grace to the worst kind of people, bro. They give so much grace. Like it's actually crazy.
Yeah,
Like, do you not see the kind of play that's sitting in front of your eyes? Like
bro. These
so
are the same
trifecta.
Panther. These are the same Panther fans that have been hibernating for the past 4 years, 5 years, 6 years, just waiting for the Panthers to have a good year. And they come out of hibernation, and all these fans come out. Nah. We've been here. We've been here through the grind. We sat out here, Steve Wilkes era, Thursday night football in the rain, and watched us beat the Atlanta Falcons in on Thursday night football in the rain. We've seen them play in the rain when there's 10 fans in the stands. I've been a season ticket holder for the last 3 years. Before this year, I saw two home wins in 2 years. Like I know like how hard it is to be a Panther fan. We're Hornets fans as well, so we know how hard it is to be a Charlotte fan in general. Like There is no giving grace just because we win in games. I ain't doing that. No, you gonna have to earn it. I'd keep the same energy if we were 3-13 or if we were 13-3. You got to come to work ready to win. You got to come to work ready to put in the grind. I don't care if you're a first round pick, number one overall, or you're Mr. Irrelevant like Brock Purdy. You got to come in ready to work. You got to come in ready to prove yourself. That's all it is. That's all I ask for is you come prove yourself. And that's what I hope Dave Canales and the Panthers organization demands of Xavier get. You got to earn it, bro. You got to earn it. We're not just going to keep giving you grace over and over again. You're going to have to earn it. You're going to have to figure out, hey, enough is enough. You've done this over and over again. You've made drops in big moments. You're making our quarterback look bad. You're making our offense look bad. Like you're gonna mess us up eventually, man. Like you messed it up last year. We should have beat the Eagles. That'd have been a huge win against the s- Wood, who eventually ended up being the Super Bowl champions in Philadelphia. Could have beat them in Philadelphia. Like that's what I'm saying is like we gotta be able to. We gotta ask more out of every player, no matter what draft pick they are. Forget about the draft picks. If you're starting on the Carolina Panthers or you're on the bench and you're in the game, demand more out of these players. Make them understand that, oh, we don't care about your cool accent. We don't care about the raccoon meat. We don't care about none of that, man. We want ballers and dogs, just like Dan Morgan asked. Dan Morgan always says he wants dogs. We want dogs too. So, I'm done ranting about it. Obviously, I've voiced my opinion to you. We've voiced our opinion on Twitter and uh, TikTok. We done talking about it, bro. Like he knows what he has to do. I hope he knows what he has to do. If need be, I will send him every single podcast episode over and over and over again until he watches. So, I'd say the same thing to his face. Give me credentials. I'll be in that locker room right in front of his face with a microphone. We're gonna ask some questions, bro, and you want to answer them with the country voice and all. Get ready to answer the questions. So yeah, I'll let you talk, but I just want to rant a little bit.
Nah, man, like you good. I feel the same way. So I mean, it's just it's all just a matter of putting the right people in. Um, and I hope that they can figure that out. Later on, when the time comes. 'Cause the fact that we have 8 wins with Xavier Leggett as our wide receiver too, it's kind of a success story within itself. I mean, just like being that. So, a guy who has just, a little bit over 350 yards on the year. Um,
This year,
yeah,
bro, Coker
350
has the
yards.
same amount. Coker has the same amount, and Coker's played half the games. Yeah, I'm out, bro. I'm out.
I mean, it's just crazy to me that 350 yards and like 2 touchdowns. Um, it's just not gonna work for me, bro. Um,
Bro, that's literally Coker's stat line. That is insane, bro.
and like I don't know, man. It's just if the Carolina Panthers, if they are somehow able to get a better receiving option next to Pedro and McMillan next year, this offense could be elevated heavily, heavily. And I saw the free agent class for next year, or for next year. And a guy that sparks my mind of interest is Wandale Robinson. He's a free agent next year. Wandale Robinson. Um, he's one of the most underrated receivers in the league, I think. Um, exactly right. And so if that's a guy that
Bro,
just
can you
throwing
can
out
you
there.
imagine? Can you imagine Tedero McMillan, Wandale Robinson, and Jalen Coker?
Yeah, man. I mean, we
I've
can
seen
throw a
enough.
bag.
I've seen
We can
enough.
throw a bag. Let's throw a. I mean, we can throw some money out there for him. He's had a career year this year. Um,
What
and
jersey you
that's what
want, gang? What jersey number you want? It's all yours, bro.
like. Yeah, shoot, 17, take it. I don't care, man. But yeah, I mean, outside of outside of Xavier Leggett and whatnot, um, nonetheless, proud of this team as a whole and whatnot. Um, but now moving over to our the next topic, we do have. There's not going to be anything long, but there is contemplation of Carolina and Tampa Bay potentially having a Sunday night football flex in Week 18. You know, and it won't be at home, but it will be on the road. Um, so that's just something there that could potentially happen. Um, just based off of what happened this week um, against Seattle and the game with Miami and whatnot. So just something there. Um, how would it feel to have a Sunday night football game in Week 18 to decide the division? I mean, hopefully we're not in that position. You know, because best case scenario is that we beat Seattle and then Miami wins. So that would just be the simplest, quickest scenario. But a lot of people are having Carolina, Tampa Bay as the deciding factor last um, game of the regular season. Um, what would you prefer? Would you prefer we take the hard route, beating a good team in Seattle, Miami? Hope and pray that Miami can beat the Buccaneers, or whatever happens, and then have a Sunday night football game. You know, just all over the place leading up to the game and whatnot. Which one would you rather have? All the
Yeah,
stress.
as a fan who hasn't seen the Panthers in the playoffs since 2017, give me the playoffs this week.
Yeah,
I'd rather us beat Seattle, Miami beat Tampa, and we play Tampa next week in Tampa at 1 o'clock in the afternoon. Like that's cool. Like if we have, okay, so if we win this week and Miami beats Tampa, and we play in Tampa 1 o'clock last week of the year, and we have the 4 seed locked up, like we can't move from the 4 seed. Obviously, we can't move up. We're obviously not going to move down because the division winners are the 4 seeds, top 4 seeds. I'm benching everybody.
yeah,
It's serious. I mean, me personally, I am. I don't see the point in putting your guys out there risking injury because at that point, Tampa's gonna be pissed. Let's be honest. And you know, even in the NFL today, I don't put it past anybody to be dirty players. Um, you see it weekly. Denzel Perryman got suspended for 2 games for nasty hits. Um, Brooks from Seattle's not going to play against us this week for stepping on um, a Rams player's a Ram player, offensive lineman. So, you know, I don't put it past anybody being dirty, especially in a division game. You lost 2 weeks ago. People are going to be pissed. You know, it's always been chippy the past few years. So, maybe I'd play a few people. I wouldn't bench everybody. I'd play a few people. Xavier Get, he's definitely playing. Xavier Get,
yeah,
you ain't getting missed, bro. You're not getting the cool treatment, bro. You gonna play. Like you have to get as much reps as you can. We need you to get as many reps as possible, bro. Like I don't care if Andy Dalton force feeds you 15 targets, fam. I need you to catch 15 balls. You know what I'm saying? I don't care. You fight through 3 defenders if you have to, bro. Catch all 15. But we'll see what happens. Obviously, I don't want to stress. I don't want to have to
yeah,
stress all day Sunday, week 18, waiting for Sunday night football. But if it goes down to it where you know we can't be eliminated this week. No matter what happens, we can't be eliminated, and no matter what happens, they can't clinch a playoff berth. Obviously, it's in our hands. If we win in Week 18, no matter what happens this week, we're in the playoffs. So it doesn't matter what happens this week. They could win, we could lose this week, and we beat them next week, and we're NFC South champions. So it doesn't matter. The tiebreaker doesn't change. We control our own destiny. That's the beauty of it. That's the luxury of it. And you know, if Miami can pull off a win, pull off a big win against Tampa, and we can pull off a big win against Seattle, I'd much rather be stress free next Sunday than sweat my balls off seeing if we could beat the
yeah,
Buccaneers in Week 18 on Sunday Night Football. But I wouldn't mind a primetime game. We haven't had that in a while. A true primetime game. I'm not counting the Bears Panther game a few years ago. I guess you can count the Monday night
Niners.
game this year,
Yeah,
but and it wasn't really fun to watch. Um, a big time primetime game, and this one would be a big time primetime game.
Okay.
Um, I'd love to see it, but um, I think if that is what is the deciding factor, that last week's the deciding factor, we will get the Sunday Night Football game. So many teams have already clinched a playoff berth. So many teams have already
Yeah.
clinched their divisions. There's not many divisions still up for grabs.
Like
Um,
no one
I
wants
think a
to
few more.
like no one wants to watch, the Niners and the Seahawks battle for the one seed. Like we already know those guys are gonna go to the playoffs. Like
Yeah, yeah,
let's
yeah. I mean,
give
like, those guys
let's
are
give
going.
yeah, like let's give the attention to the, Panthers who are just, they haven't been in the playoffs since 2017 and they have an
And also
opportunity
the
to clinch.
Niners and the Seahawks, Niners and the Seahawks have gotten multiple primetime games this year. They've got multiple
Yeah.
primetime games the past few years. Nobody wants to see that crap. You know what you do? You put them two on 425 Fox game of the week. You let your big dogs and Kevin and Tom Brady be the announcers of the games. Cool. Let that be your game for 425 Fox game of the week. And let the Panthers Buccaneers be Sunday Night Football if it comes down to that. Obviously, as a fan, I'd rather just be in the playoffs this week and get all excited and not have to stress next week. Just be like, okay, screw y'all Buccaneers, we're already in, so y'all can beat us by 50 or beat us by 5. It doesn't matter because we're in the playoffs, you're not. So I'd love for that to just be the case. But we'll see what happens. Definitely rooting for Miami this week. And we got to take care of business ourselves. We ain't going against the Las Vegas Raiders or the Cleveland Browns. We're not going against a team that's fighting for the one seed, number one overall pick. We're fighting against a team who's fighting for a number one overall seed in the NFC. So
Currently the
it's
number
going
one
to be a
seed.
big game. Yeah, currently number one seed and battling for number one seed. So big game for us. Obviously, they're fighting for something big too. They're fighting for the number one seed. It's a must win for both teams, and that's what's going to make this game so electric, so
Yeah.
awesome, and I'm excited for it.
Dude, hopefully they bring out the towels again, going up
Bro,
against
bring the
that
towels
Generals.
out, bro. Make them blue this time. Make them blue.
Fact. Well, yeah, because we wore all black, so we had black towels. So it just depends on what we wear. Just make them whatever color.
Facts.
Just have like a white out or a black or a blue out or whatever. No matter. I was wearing my custom blue jersey, so I wasn't really rocking with the all black out. I didn't get the memo, but
I
whatever. Yeah,
had
whatever.
blue jersey on too. Don't feel bad.
Yeah. So whatever happens, do that. But while we're on it, Panthers Seattle preview. What are your expectations going into this game? In terms of looking at what Seattle has, going up against what we have, and what do you think what happened?
Yeah, like I said just a second ago, it's a big game for both teams. Seattle owns the number one seed in the NFC right now. The Panthers are battling for a playoff spot. The Panthers do know that they can make the playoffs this year. Obviously, you know, full focus is going to be on Seattle, but they know in the back of their head if they win and they get one team to help them out, the Miami Dolphins, they're in the playoffs. So that's obviously going to be in the back of everybody's mind, especially the players and the coaches. Like I was thinking earlier, is like if we're leading by like 3, 7 points at halftime, we're in a close game. How many of those players and coaches are going in the locker room and immediately getting on their phone and checking ESPN, bro? Like, I'm just saying, you got to believe that they're humans as well. You know what I'm saying? As much
Yeah,
as they want to win and whatnot, they're humans, and they want to know if they can make the playoffs. These players who have been on this team haven't been on in the playoffs. Like Derek Brown's never been in the playoffs in his whole career. J.C. Horn's never been in the playoffs in his whole career. Bryce Young, Chuba Hubbard, like these guys have never been to the playoffs. Like this is stuff they dreamed of. You know what I'm saying? Like this is stuff
yeah,
they've worked for. They've been through the grind. They've been through the 3 wins. They've been through the storm. Like they know what it's like, man. They've lived in Carolina their whole NFL career. Like they know what the grind's like. They know the struggle that this team's been through. They know the struggle these fans have been through. Like so, obviously, if it's a close game and you know in the back of your mind, okay, Miami beats. I think both the games are on at the same time, aren't they?
yeah.
obviously, if I'm going in there, if I'm Dave Canales, we're in a close game, whatever. Yeah, I want to make my adjustments. I want to do that. But look, me, Ichiro Avero, Brad Isaac, we're going into coach's office real quick. We just want coordinator meeting, a coordinator meeting. It ain't no coordinator meeting, bro. It's hey, we gonna check this score real quick, and then that's how we gonna determine how we can make adjustments, bro. Like, it's just true, man. I do it. Man, let's be honest, I've done it. I've done it as a high school coach. You're in the playoffs, you're up or whatever. You want to know who you're playing next week. You go on Max Preps and check the score, bro. Like, are we playing at home? Are we playing away? Like, what are we doing? You know what I'm saying? So like, they're human, bro. They're human. They're gonna do it. You're not telling
Yeah,
me that if we're up or in a close game, nobody in that locker room's checking their phone at the score. You're not telling me they're not
right.
looking up as the scores go across the the digital board that goes around the stadium that separates the lower level and the upper bowl. There's scores that go on that strip of the computer screen. It keeps the scores updated. You're not telling me people ain't looking up there on the sidelines and checking, okay, what's that Miami score? What's that Tampa Bay score? You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah,
so like it's a big game for us, but it's a big game for the Seahawks too. Don't put it past them. Like you
yeah,
said, they're fighting for a number one seed. They have what is one of the most um, well-known fan bases in the league, the 12th man. For them to have home field advantage all the playoffs, that's big. Obviously, we saw it yesterday. The fans behind you getting rowdy, that's big for a team. It's huge. I mean, it makes a difference. Like when we played the Rams, that was the loudest I heard it this year, except for yesterday. And a big strip sack by Derek Brown recovered by DJ Wanham when the fans got really loud. Like that's the thing that happens, man. Fans make a difference. Like let's not put it past them. The fans make a huge difference. The Panthers stadium is huge. I mean, it sits almost 70,000 people. And there was some sections that I looked on Ticketmaster, there was no sections that had a lot of seats, and there was half the sections were sold out completely. So like it was huge, man. Like it was a big game yesterday. Fans were rowdy. It was an amazing game. Um, and it's gonna be a big game for both teams. But you know, we're gonna have to be dang near perfect on offense. Just looking at the Seahawks defense statistically, they rank second in offensive points per game. They're only allowing 18.6 points per game. They have the third best rushing defense. Obviously, like I said earlier, we need to get our rushing attack back up and running, take the pressure off Bryce a little bit. Um, they're third in the least amount of offensive touchdowns allowed. They've only allowed 30 touchdowns. And then a big one, they're top five in sacks as a team. They've sacked the quarterback 42 times as a team. So we got to be able to protect up front. Obviously, they have a very good rush defense. They have a good pass rush. They have a good secondary in the back end. So we got to be able to protect up front, try to get some movement, try to establish the run a little bit, try to control the clock like Tampa Bay did yesterday. They did a very good job of it. Obviously, we came up big and when we needed to, but control the clock, take the pressure off Bryce a little bit, let him know, hey, I can make the smart plays like I have been the past few weeks. I don't have to have it all on my back. Um, and then for their offense and our defense, they're third in points per game. They've scored the third most points per game this year, 29 and a half. Obviously, they almost put up 40 on the Rams this past week. Um, they're third in yards per play. They average 6 yards per play. And then obviously they've scored 48 touchdowns as a team. That's fourth most in the league. So they're very good statistically on both sides. There's a reason they're the number one seed in the NFC. They have a very good team. Like I've said, I've shouted out Mike McDonald earlier in the year. I think he's a very good young coach, a very good hire by them after Pete Carroll was let go. A very good hire for them, getting him from the Ravens, their former Ravens defense coordinator. That defense is they fly around, they make big plays, but the offense flies around too. Sam Darnold, um, K3, Kenneth Walker the third, Zach Charbonnet. That's a two-headed monster in the backfield. And then, of course, they have one of the best wide receivers in the NFL, and Jackson Smith and Jigba. He's very good, very versatile. They like to get their tight ends involved. Obviously, we know we've struggled a little bit with tight ends. They like to get AJ Barner involved, their tight end. He has almost 500 yards receiving this year. He's involved a lot. They like to get Rashid Shaheed involved at wide receiver. They acquired him from New Orleans earlier this year. We obviously know him very well. We've played him a few times when he played in New Orleans. So, got to be able to stop the pass game. I think we did very good at it this week. Um, Tampa Bay wide receivers, none of them had over 40 yards. None of them had over 50 yards receiving. So, we did very well at it this week, like you said. Mike Jackson let up that goal line fade touchdown to Mike Evans early, but he didn't let it happen again. Obviously, Baker Mayfield tried to do it again later in the game, and Mike Jackson was step for step with him and broke it up. So, um, you know, shout out J.C. Horn, shout out Mike Jackson. Mike Jackson actually is tied for first in the league or first in the league in passes defended this year. So they've been targeting Mike Jackson. They've been trying to, pick at him a little bit, but Mike Jackson has stepped up. He's made plays. He has like 3 interceptions, one return for a pick six. So, shout out to the DBs. Shout out Trayvon Morig, Nick Scott, and Lathan Ransom in the back end, rotating at safety. Um, just got to be able to slow down that passing attack. Keep Kenneth Walker under wraps. Ashawn Robinson, Derek Brown, they got to be big up front. Christian Roseboom at linebacker. I think Trevin Wallace will be back this week, so we'll have both our starting linebackers back. But yeah, it's gonna be a big game. I think it's gonna be electric again. Last regular season home game. Hopefully not the last home game of the year. Hopefully we have more in the playoffs. But last regular season home game. Hopefully a win in Carolina, and then Miami beats Tampa Bay, and we're going to the playoffs. So that's all we can hope for. Hey, you're muted.
Oh, I keep forgetting. That's why I don't mute myself. I've been doing it today, but
You're good.
uh, Dave Panos needs to pull up his big boy pants. If he wants to, have a chance in this game. None of that conservative BS. Um, this is this is what we're trying to do right here. This is you want to make a statement right here. Let's do it. Um, let Bryce throw down the field. Let him take them shots. Surprise the Seattle Seahawks defense a little bit, and let's get it going. Obviously they're a hard physical team, but we can be too. We just gotta match them. We know we can. Um, and luckily for us, defensively, we're going up against a quarterback that um, can turn the ball over and is willing to turn the ball over. Don Shula, um, the Los Angeles Rams defensive coordinator, he disguised two beautiful defensive plays to pick Sam Darnold off on Thursday Night Football last week, and so he is willing to throw those interceptions, and I think Israel Evero is going to look at that and be like, okay, we can disguise this, pop out, interception, boom. Sam Donald is, he can throw those interceptions, and I think we're one or two away. If we can get one or two of those, we'll have that place rocking, and it can, really shift the dynamic of the game. So I know Israel Evero is really looking at, a bunch of schemes and designs to really, set up Sam Donald to fail against us passing wise. But obviously, it's gonna be a really good matchup. Jackson Jigba versus J.C. Horn and Mike Jackson. I'm really excited to go and watch one of the best receivers in the league. Um, so it's gonna be a really fun, interesting matchup there. Um, but our offense, we're going up against a very good defense. Seattle has a bunch of really nice pieces. Okada in the backfield, who I think has had a tremendous year defensively, a really good breakout year for him. Um, Devon Witherspoon, Tariq Woolen, obviously there's their corners. They've been very good this year. Just a very good defense. I mean, Mike McDonald is known for his defense. He came over as a defensive coordinator from Baltimore over here, so he runs the defense. He knows what to do in order to run those guys and whatnot. Um, and so Dave Canales also, he did spend some time in Seattle, so he probably knows some guys in the organization that will, probably be there in Charlotte. So he's got some relations there, but he really needs to step it up this week. Um, let's not come out flat like we did against New Orleans. We did, a little bit, better yesterday. In terms of like taking some deep shots and whatnot, which was nice to see. But the football big boy pants against Seattle, let's come out with the same energy that they give us. So we can't back down. We're at home. The crowd's gonna be on their feet all game. I'm already knowing it. Let's just get after it. So I'm really excited for the challenge. We're gonna be on CBS. Ian Eagle and JJ Watt's gonna be on the call. I thought it was gonna be Tony Romo and Joe Nance, but I'm cool with having the CBS second team. And do you know who Elite Chase is?
Yes.
Bro, he posted on Twitter today that he purchased a playoff ticket to watch a team that he believes is gonna have one of the best atmospheres in the NFL if they can clinch a home playoff game, and he's gonna be at the game. I just think that's so cool
Legendary.
and
Legendary.
cinematic because he's from Texas and he's gonna come to Charlotte just to witness just to witness this game. He
That's
didn't
awesome.
mention it, but he didn't mention it specifically who team it was. He just said a brief description. Can you guess or whatever? But he talks so much praise about the Carolina Panthers that I know
Yeah.
for a fact that it's and he's a Dolphins fan. He's a Dolphins fan. So um
Hey, go
uh
go his team this week. Go Dolphins. Go Dolphins.
yeah, facts, bro. Shout out Nico, bro, if he's watching this podcast. But um yeah, man. So very important game this week. Um so we just gotta, keep the main thing the main thing. But time for our, we didn't do it last week 'cause we were tied up with some other stuff. But back to it, buy or sell hot take. I'm gonna start us off. Um, buy or sell. The Houston Texans will has the potential to make a deep run in the AFC this year. I think they're clicking at the right time. They have 10 wins this year. And if you would have told me that they started 0-3 and that they would go and 10 and now go you know 10-5, or I think they're 10-5 at the moment. Um, they have 10 wins regardless. Their defense playing like the best defense in the league has been for the past couple of years. Um, they're clicking at the right time, man. I mean, I feel like if their defense can continue to play well and execute, and then CJ Stroud, he plays well, like I know he can in the playoffs. I mean, he's already had playoff experience within the last 2 years. Um, I think that team can be built to have a really solid run. I think when you look at the AFC landscape, like the Chargers, Jaguars, Bills, Patriots. Like I mentioned it earlier, a couple weeks ago. Like there's not one team that really screams out like this team is gonna run the table. You know what I mean? But if you have the best defense in the league and you have solid weapons on offense, like the former offensive rookie of the year Stroud and uh, top 10 receiver Nico Collins, I mean you can make some money work. So I'm putting a lot of faith in that defense to carry this, but I just that's just a hot take that I'm willing to set out for the universe.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's a good hot take for you, but I'm gonna have to sell it. Um, I think the AFC is really stacked. Like you said, you named off a few of them: uh, New England, Denver, LA, Jacksonville, Buffalo. All very good teams this year. No doubt the Texans are good. Got to give credit where credit is due. They have a very good season. D'Amico Ryan's has got his team back on track. Got to give credit where it's due, but I think there's too much firepower in the AFC. I think it's more stacked than the NFC right now. So I can't get with you on that one. I wouldn't be surprised if they did because it feeds into my hot take, but um, yeah, I'm gonna have to sell it for now.
Okay. There's
But my hot take is like kind of what you were saying. There is no clear Super Bowl favorite on either side going into the postseason. There's not one team that, like we said, that screams, "Hey, we're going to run the table on either side." There's not one team that I think I can automatically put in the Super Bowl just that. I don't know if there's any team I can automatically put in either championship game. Um, I think it's so competitive this year. Any team could be any team. We've seen that week in and week out with the Carolina Panthers. Um, I don't know if I'd put. I mean, I could change it. I don't think there's any clear NFC champion, like NFC championship game participant. I don't think there's any clear AFC championship participant. I don't know if I could put any team automatically in a championship AFC championship game and the NFC championship game right now, just because I don't know who can win. Who's to say the Panthers can't knock off a few teams? We've done it. We've knocked off half the teams in the playoffs. We're about to play the number one seed Seahawks. We've beat the Packers. We've beat the Rams. We play competitively against the 49ers. I don't think they were a better team than us. I think we just struggled on offense that night. Defense played great, played lights out. Offense just couldn't do anything. We held them to 20 points. So, um, I don't think there's any clear on either side that we put in the NFC Championship game or the AFC Championship game, let alone the Super Bowl.
Yeah, I'm gonna buy this one because said something similar a couple weeks ago. So I'm gonna buy it. I mean, I think that's um, a really good. I think a lot of people would agree that I don't think you look around the landscape of the NFL like this team is the best team in the NFL regardless. I think a lot of teams, um, that can really go out there and surprise some people. Like there wouldn't be a huge favorite to win the game. Like the
Right.
New England Patriots and the Ravens did last night. The Ravens were controlling the game for most of it up until a fumble happened and late in the game, which caused New England to grab the upper hand and win. But that was a very good defensive play from them. But it was a really good game last night on Sunday Night Football in terms of that. So I mean, you have the Ravens 7-7 Ravens or 7-8 now battling against the Patriots last night. Uh, so I mean, that's just one example there, and then you know I can name some other ones like the Bears in the NFC. Um, just now being the Packers. Um, I mean, you got all these other teams. I mean, the Niners, who are 10 wins right now with all these injuries. Um, they have 10 wins. They're most likely, in the playoffs. Uh, so there's a lot of teams that, can really go out there and beat whoever. So, yeah, I'm gonna buy that.
Let's do it.
But, yes, sir. But with all that being said, guys, thank you guys so much for watching and tuning in. We just hit 100 followers on TikTok, so a little celebratory there. Um, so yeah, man. I mean, we're gonna be back here next week. Hopefully talking about a Panthers win against Seattle, and much more. Hopefully, maybe celebrating a playoff berth. Um, if that happens, we'll pull out a couple of beers and celebrate. Um, but
For
yeah,
sure.
we'll be back here next week. Guys, thank you so much for watching.
And
We'll see you all next week.
also, we won't see anybody before Christmas. So, Merry Christmas to everybody watching. Merry Christmas to everybody. Hope everybody has
Yes,
a
sir. Merry
blessed
Christmas.
Christmas. And we'll see y'all next Monday.
See y'all.